Let's see, did I get my tiny Ultralisks? Guys, today, January 23rd, it is patch day. The 5.0.11 patch has officially come out, and all of these changes are moving from the PTR, which I did a video about when that came out, to the official live ladder. Boys and girls, get excited. Let's go through it. Worker units no longer need to wait for the full deceleration before beginning to attack. That means your workers much more microable. They no longer have to stop and then attack. So anybody that was doing worker harass or worker defense, gonna be a bit better, gonna be a bit easier. I like this. I like they added the developer comments. Now, you know, they probably aren't comments from the developer, probably more from the people who came up with these changes, as I saw in the BattleNet app. Specifically, community curated patch is here. They do not want to be blamed for anything. They say, you guys asked for this, blame each other, get mad at each other. Zerg, creep tumor, cooldown increased from 10 to 13. Sight range reduced 11 to 10. That was stuff that was on the PTR. Totally fine. The sight range definitely hurts more, but I think it's also fair, because the creep tumor, you could see past the creep. Like, it doesn't really make sense. Now, you will see the edge of the creep. Bit more fair. The cooldown, that's pretty much only useful in a passive game. If you told me you were really spreading your creep every 10 seconds without fail, I'm going to accuse you of either being Scarlett or wasting your time, because should you really be doing that every 10 seconds? Hatchery. Lair and hive creep spread interval decreased, which means the creep spread rate is increased. Does not affect the creep spread from tumors. Sight range increased. Just all around a bit better. Bit more strength goes to the creep that stems from the main building instead of the tumors. Viper. Oh, one of my favorite units. Vipers. After casting Abduct, the Viper cannot move or use abilities for 0.57 seconds. I like the comment for this. Prevents the Viper from being able to simultaneously abduct 2 units. You could see that. If it had enough energy, it just yoink yoink. Nothing. You couldn't stop it. As well as makes the Viper more vulnerable. Yeah. Viper casts Abduct. It's like it gets stunned. Like, oh man, that was a heavy weight. Which it probably should, given it's pulling things like Thor's. Ultralisk. A little less ultra, but more powerful. Reduced size by 12.5% and increased the distance the target can move before the attack is cancelled. That's nice. Ultralisks often get stuck against the Zerg's own units due to their size and movement speed. It is true. I said it before. The biggest problem Ultralisks had, was that they couldn't connect to their targets. So now, size reduction, increased target range. Ultras getting some love. Hydras. Muscular augments. Speed bonus off creep increased from 0.79 to 0.98, and the damage point reduced from 0.15 to 0.1. I like they're adding in the information for people that don't quite know what that is. Damage point is the time it takes for a unit to complete its attack. It's like the animation. Reducing it allows more time for movement in between attacks. Hydras, now they're faster and they're more stutter steppable, I think is probably the best way to put it. Yeah, their high damage point combined with their attack caused kiting to not be effective. their damage would go out really quickly, and they had a fast attack speed, but you couldn't micro them like you can micro Marines, if that makes sense. Broodlord. Movement speed increased, duration of the broodlings reduced. These were all PTR things. Speedy broodlords. Get excited. I don't think it's going to be as impactful as some of the other Zerg changes. That's more to help some counterplay versus things like ghosts, where now there's actually the opportunity you might be able to get away if you're already moving. Ravager. Build time increased from 8.5 to 12.14 and removed the random delay. Straight up nerf. Ravager. Timing Ravager Rush, Ravager All In a little bit slower now. Forces the Zerg to prepare slightly earlier, as well as reduce the strength of during fights morph. That's a good one too. Protoss. Everybody's favorite, right? Shield battery. Battery overcharge. Recharge rate reduced from 100% to 50%. Reduced the total shields recharge from 1440 to 1080. I don't know. Mixed feelings about it, honestly. Because yeah, battery overcharge is strong. It's nuts. It can shut down entire pushes. But it also had the weakness of being a short time thing, and you could just destroy the battery, like they say here, unless the shield battery could be destroyed. However, in a situation where the shield battery overcharge is the only thing keeping the Protoss alive, now not so much. Protoss will need to be a little less greedy, perhaps a little more focus on army units, early defense. Observer. Movement speed increased. Speedy observers. Gravitic boosters movement speed bonus increased. Maintaining a 50% increase, okay. Model size increased. Does not affect interactions with range or vision. Yep, it is strictly they thick. They ate something good for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. And now, yeah, I was wondering about that. The increased size helps the opponent see when an observer is present. It's more for the counterplay because you can see the shimmer. What's the right word for it? It's like a silhouette. You can see the shimmer silhouette of the observer. You move your camera around, you spin your camera. You can see where it is without the detection. So now it'll be a little bit easier to see. Archon. Reduce the collision radius with structures, which means they can now fit through single tile gaps. No more house Archons. Makes the Archon better at defending within the Protoss base against units such as Mutas. Also helps prevent frustrating scenarios where the Archon can be stuck after being recalled. Oh, I feel that. That hurts. You pull back the Archon, alright, cool, defense is fine. And then he can't move. Crap. High Templar. Movement speed increased from 2.6 to 2.8. Increased the speed of ground-based armies with Templar support. I can kind of agree. It would help against the counterplay, having Templar to actually deal with things like Vipers. Definitely helps keep them around. You don't have to watch them as carefully, maybe. Overall, minor though. Minor. Unlike this next one, Disruptor. Purification Nova reduced. Radius reduced from 1.5 to 1.35. Ish. Reduces the maximum potential damage that a disruptor can deal against an unaware opponent. That is helpful. Disruptors like some other units that name rhymes with Bidomine. Definitely frustrating, definitely annoying. If you are not paying attention, something like a disruptor drop can ruin your day, can absolutely crush your game. So having it be a little less damaging is helpful. My problem with it is that also reduces its effectiveness when somebody is paying attention too. Like, Stim Marines could micro out of the Nova. Now it's a bit easier to micro out as well. I said a lot about this back when it was PTR changes too. The Carrier. Perhaps the most impactful upgrade for lower level players, I would say. Interceptor attack target priority reduced from 20 to 19. In other words, attackers will now prioritize other units over the interceptors. This means you build a bunch of corruptors and you get them close, they will actually target the carriers. A bunch of Vikings will target the carriers. That's good. And not a huge deal for pros or higher level players because they are already using target fire. They're already microing. But for lower players, this is great, because now just an attack move may actually target the carriers instead of the interceptors. Sentry. Build time reduced, movement speed increased. Just all around general buff. I like it. I like seeing it. I think sentries have fallen a bit out of favor. They've kind of become just hallucination makers. So having them get a better movement speed means we may actually see some more early ground timings. Maybe Sentry Immortal will come back. Who knows, dare I say. Forge. The Forge buff. Level 1, 2, and 3 upgrade research time reduced. Just straight up minor buff. Looks like 7 seconds, 9 seconds, and then 12 seconds. Like, okay. Protoss, upgrades are good. We want Protoss to actually get their upgrades. Maybe this will make it a little bit easier. Comment, Protoss have been heavily relying on disruptors. With the nerf to disruptors as well as overcharge, earlier upgrades should give some compensation. I like it. I like that actually. It's true, because disruptors don't benefit from upgrades. Damn, that's a good change actually. Yeah. Lastly, for Protoss Dark Templar, Shadow Stride delay reduced from 0.75 to 0.71. That is the time after the DT blinks before it starts attacking. They put a delay on to give people the illusion that you can actually stop it and counterplay. Now it's 0.04 seconds quicker. Minor. Non-issue. Terran. Drink. Stay hydrated, guys. That's what I get for casting before doing this. Viking. Fighter mode. Damage point reduced from 0.12 to 0.04. Ooh, that is good. So now that means Vikings in their air mode will be a bit more stutter steppable, a bit easier to micro. That should be really helpful versus something like a battle cruiser opener in TVT. The Viking will have an easier time kiting or chasing. Okay, Liberator. Just a gas cost reduction. Minor. Non-issue. Liberators have fallen off over time as Zerg builds more queens? Yeah, they do. And transition into Liberators against Protoss is too expensive. I don't know about that. Too expensive. Maybe if you're spending your money well. Too expensive. The cost reduction, it's only 25 gas less. I don't know. I mean, sure, it's helpful if you were already building Liberators. If you weren't, building liberators, if you're somebody who doesn't like libs, is this going to make you build libs? Probably not. But should you be building libs? Probably. Ask yourself that question. Holy comment. Ghost. Enhanced shockwaves upgrade removed, but the default radius is increased. We talked about that in the PTR. Instead of it being 1.5 base to 2 with the upgrade, now it's just a flat 175. So, hey, better out of the box. That's a good buff. Steady targeting is cancelled if the target moves more than 14 range away. I like it. And it can be manually cancelled now, probably with the escape key, if I had to guess. So, Ghost. What is everyone's feelings about this? The EMP, obviously, going to be a better change for people that weren't getting the upgrade. Ghost just out of the box better. Steady targeting, though, can be cancelled if the target moves away. And that's where things like the Broodlord, speed change, are actually really helpful. Let's read this. Weakening. It's weaking the Ghost against late game Protoss while giving it more power immediately. Yep, agreed. The steady targeting range cap reduces the punishing effect Ghost can have. Yeah, agreed. There was no real potential for retreating because it was vision. Yeah, exactly. The Terran would scan, give it vision, and nothing could get away. So now you can get away because it has a range instead of just a vision requirement. Okay. Moving on. Banshee. Hyperflight rotors, research time reduced and cost reduced. Banshee openers. Rejoice. Reduces the investment to research as it was too ineffective for the investment. It's very niche. Banshees don't really see a whole lot of use. I mean, when you have things like 14 queens on the board, it's a little bit of a deterrent. Cyclone. Magfield accelerator bonus changed from 20 versus armored to 10 versus all. So a little bit of a nerf versus armored targets. Lock-on will now prioritize air units that threaten the Cyclone, as in air units with an anti-ground attack or spellcasters. Oracles, looking at you. Autocast range increased. Ooh. Autocast range is increased so attack moved Cyclones do not move below the actual cast range. Below the actual cast range of lock-on before it acquires a target, the ability is still cast at 7 range. The Magfield Accelerator damage change attempts to make the unit more well-rounded, as many of the factory units are specialized. I agree. Lock-on prioritizing air, blah blah blah, while preventing lock-ons from being wasted on Zerglings. Yeah, okay, so that's the air change. This wording. So, if I read it, we're changing the auto-cast range from 7 to 7.5. But the manual cast range is still 7. That's how I'm reading it. If somebody's reading it differently, if somebody wants to help out, feel free. I'm open. That's my guess, though. The auto's increased when it's on an attack move, but the manual is still 7. Sensor tower. Radar range reduced from 30 to 27 Terrans. How are we going to continue? This is outrageous. Oh, God. What is even the point of playing this game? I can't with the Raven. Sorry, little too far. Raven. Gas cost reduced. Buff. Build time reduced. Buff. Corvid reactor removed. No more starting energy increase. Okay. Anti-armor. Anti-armor missile reduction reduced from 3 to 2. Okay. Oh no, the debuff color tint is reduced. Are we not going to be coated in the super Dorito dust anymore? Auto turret duration reduced from 10 to 8? Health of auto turrets reduced and armor of auto turrets reduced. And they're no longer affected by Neo Steel. Huge change, I know. Okay, so wrapping it all up there, the Raven is cheaper, builds faster. However, anti-armor, missile, and auto turret are slightly weaker. Ravens will get out quicker, so that's better for detection, and their interference matrix is unchanged. However, they do not have the Corvid reactor to be able to cast it right away. Okay. I don't see this making a whole lot of change for TVZ and TVP, because mainly if you go Raven, it's either for detection or harassment. But TVT, I don't know. See, the comment, increase the viability of the Raven. Detector, yeah. Strength removed from anti-armor and auto turret to prevent mass auto turret strategies. While I have not suffered from that, I will say thank you, because that sounds awful. Alright. Miscellaneous bug fixes, quality of life stuff. Banshee, the first missile, is no longer delayed. Previously, the Banshee could start moving away before the missile was launched. Oh, okay. I get it now. So when you stop and you attack, there was a delay, and the attack could actually be canceled before it went off. So it was not stutter step friendly, shall we say. Factory increased the spawn radius by 1. I remember that. I talked about that because sometimes you can get your units stuck. Your Thors could get stuck, your tanks could get stuck, and they would just sit in the factory. They wouldn't even come out. It would just be sitting there doing its factory dance, and nothing would come out. It was awful. Widow Mine reduced the delay for Unburrow. Okay. No longer targets cocoons and no longer targets units affected by neural parasite. Ooh. So, Widow Mine's a little more friendly. Scary. A scary prospect. Cyclone fixed an issue where lock-on could enter the cooldown while the Cyclone is loaded into a transport. No longer targets cocoons without a manual order. Good stuff. Just reducing things that could annoy people. Fixed an issue where repeatedly issuing a stop command could increase the shield battery's regen rate. I think I said it in the PTR one too, but who found that? Shame on you. Fixed an issue where animation models created snapshots in fog. I think I had heard about this actually. I think somebody in my Discord recently sent a picture of this, that they saw the shield battery's animation through the fog of war. Which means you could spot a shield battery without actually scouting it. Not good. Fixed restores tooltip to not scaling values to the game speed. Fine. Adept fixed an issue where adepts could not be ordered to cancel the shade. Oh, when selected with adepts who are warping in, because the ones that are warping in don't have the ability yet, so they wouldn't have the cancel. Oh. Okay. Can now be ordered, pardon me, to load into a warp prism while shading automatically canceling the shade. Very helpful for those that are doing that. Queen fixed an issue where initial tumors could be canceled. That's just sad. You'd go and plop a tumor down and then it gets canceled. She doesn't get the energy back. She just gets mad at you. No longer unable to receive basic orders for 0.6 seconds after spawning. Oh, yeah. They pop out of the hatchery and they don't take orders for half a second. So let me get my bearings before you start telling me what to do. Now you can just tell them what to do. If they take orders. It's a queen after all, if they take orders. Lurker. Reduced the unburrow delay. Average time remains the same. Attacks will no longer be blocked by low ground terrain features. Fixed an issue where units loaded into transports could be damaged. It's a hell of a spike. The Lurkers attack the spikes that come out. Whew. That thing could hit transport units. Oh man. Hydra. Same attack cooldown and animation speed with attacks at melee and range. Very good. Fixed an issue where Morph to Lurker would be cancelled with a smart command. Okay. Removed Morph to Lurker random delay. Added average delay to base build time. So, just minor tweaks, minor fixes. I think the most helpful is that Morph to Lurker, because if you were accidentally canceling it with a different command, that's annoying. You go back, your Lurker's never made. It's like, oh, crap. Stasis Ward. Attack target priority increased from 10 to 20. That is huge. So attackers will now prioritize the Stasis Ward under the right conditions. It's the same priority as everything else, so. I guess we should just reword it. They'll no longer ignore the stasis. They may choose to hit something else, but that's their fault. Stasis units can now be issued basic orders executed after the stasis expires. That's helpful, because being stasised is embarrassing enough. Having to remember to go do something 20 seconds later was just icing. Raven. Fixed an issue where units affected interference could not be issued stop commands. They would just walk into their own deaths, and it was sad. Fixed an issue where units affected would walk forward below their attack range when given attack moves commands, and it now pauses the immortal barrier cooldown. It wasn't doing that. So interference matrix, things that are hit with it, are now just behaving a bit more appropriately. They won't just walk into their own death. Swarm host. Spawn locust no longer interrupts the current order. That's nice. That's helpful. If you are telling your swarm host to go somewhere and you want the locusts out, they just keep on going. Hatchery, lair, and hive subgroup priority changed to hive, lair, hatchery. Oh. Okay, so if you select everything on the same group, on the same number, they're now organized differently. It'll put the hive first. If you're just getting your larvae, there's no change, but maybe there's a change for upgrades or something different. Whew, that's a lot of general. Issue where mule could cast targeting refineries. Ooh, we don't want that. Unintended behavior. What kind of behavior? What were the NYDUS worms doing? That's what I want to know. Fixed an issue where the muta's attack sound would play each time the attack bounced. I bet that was fun to listen to. Fixed an issue where Ravager, Lurker would be cancelled. Yes. Fixed issue where Zerglings could not receive queued Morph to Baneling commands. Oh, yeah, that's right. If you tried to queue it, they would just make the Baneling where they were, and then just sit there. Worthless things. Fixed an issue where Zerglings and Swarmhosts could not be given commands while unburrowing. You can now tell them what to do. Same with Liberators. Fixed an issue where Thors in high impact mode would not collide with Locusts. They just walked over them? Huh. Interesting. Fixed an issue with the attack animation of Thors with the Tyrador skin. Variety of upgrade and unit scores. How much score you... Oh, when you kill something or research something, it gives you points. XP, maybe. Fixed an issue where flying units and buildings did not cause water ripples when flying over water. Ah yes, Terrans. Of course, we need to know when our barracks is over water. Fixed an issue simultaneously using mass recall and strategic recall. I saw that. I actually saw the video about that. It would try and put them like somewhere in between the two recalls. It was a disaster. Fixed an issue where corrosive bile animation would override burrow. So if you told it to burrow and then bile, it would only bile. Strange. Fixed shield battery restore not showing its range when interacting with the UI. The dotted circle, probably, around the battery. You can now see it better. See it more often. Issue where changing warp in speed did not change the animation speed. Super pylon versus the dial-up pylon, probably. Fixed an issue where shield batteries autocast targeted the Dark Shrine. Yeah, wouldn't want to keep that Dark Shrine alive. No. Screw those Dark Templar. Who we kidding? Fixed an issue where Reapers threw charges with the wrong hand. I'm sorry. Are there no left-handed Reapers? Do we only have right-handed Reapers? Do we not allow left-handed people to be Reapers? Or vice versa? Fixed an issue where changelings would permanently switch sides after neural parasite. What? Who neuraled a changeling? What gives? I got nothing on that one. Okay. Fixed an issue where burrowed swarmhosts and ravagers collided with burrowed movers. Roaches now change their collision. Okay. Roaches can now go through stuff, I suppose. Issue where a zealot's second hit could damage units that were in stasis. Wow, only the second hit? That's kind of funny. Like, you could still tell your zealot to attack something and it would deal damage, but only on the second hit. Fixed an issue where a queen's second hit could damage units. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff like that. Queens, Reapers, Thors, Colossus. Wow. I had no idea about this. Stuff that was in stasis, invulnerable, lifted, or far away was still vulnerable. Interesting. Fixed an issue where medevacs could heal units affected. So there were some stasis issues, guys. Very interesting. Okay. And finally, ta-da! New map pool. 7 new maps. Will they be for this season? Will they be for this year? Who knows? But now I will go through them, and they will be probably in a separate video, though. This one's already pretty long. Thank you all so much for watching. What is your favorite change? What is your least favorite change? And what do you think? Oh, yeah, there we go. Now you can see. And what do you think the NYDUS worms were doing? Unintended behavior. Probably having a toga party, if I had to guess. Oof. Either way, thank you again so much for watching. As always, guys, have a great day.